It's me again, Pajama Pants. I don't really feel like listening to music right now because I explained already, I think. I hate just saying the same thing over and over again. But yeah, I don't like listening to music when I walk because I like to be aware of my surroundings. And right now I don't particularly feel like listening to any podcast, and everything I want to read right now, there are no audiobooks for it. No audiobook versions of those things. Phew. Oof. I think I ate a fly. Or at least it got into my mouth. Alrighty, so there are a few things, actually, I was fascinated by recently. And so speaking of news, again, that's one of the things that I never would have even, let alone recording a podcast about, because like, really, this is what we're talking about? But the situation is honestly so egregious that it's like, personally, I'm not infuriated, but professionally I am. The bungie situation. Now, I was never, and still am not, particularly interested in Marathon. Not just because it's, extraction shooter with forced co-op. Like, solo sometimes I feel like extracting maybe a couple times, but forced co-op, just like, no, And I still don't know how I feel about extraction shooters that put everyone in the same sandbox. Kind of where you basically, if you play solo, you have to play against teams. But whatever. The biggest reason why Marathon just absolutely does not interest me at all is because it looks just like the Cycle Frontier, or Frontier the Cycle, whatever the hell that game was called, that died recently. So Bungie and Sony had the genius idea. It's to the left of you. There's a squirrel there. Had the genius idea that we need to make our own Cycle the Frontier, and which IP kind of speaks, like, we can make it out of? We can make it out of Marathon. I'm like, okay, what a great idea. A game that wasn't even all that popular to begin with, that recently shut down. Yeah, now we're gonna have another one, but now by Sony, or Bungie. Like, whatever, guys, what a great idea. And it looks almost exactly like it. I don't like the way it looks, and the way it's going to play, I'm also not particularly interested. But what recently happened, right, was that basically all of the visual style of it was inspired by one particular illustrator online. I don't remember his name, or their name. And all of its style, its art style, its color style, whatever, was basically inspired by a certain illustrator. And it wasn't just inspired, they either forgot to, like, they used their art, Bungie used their art as placeholders and completely forgot to make their own assets, or they assumed nobody will notice. It's not a theory, not a game theory, not anything. It's 100% proven that Bungie basically stole around a dozen, I think, of that illustrator's posters, I assume you call those, and just put them in the game, in Marathon. No credit, no nothing. And it's not the theft itself that is infuriating, because things are being stolen, reused, repurposed on the internet all the time. It's the fact that a freaking billion-dollar company like Bungie, because it's Sony, AAA company, quadruple A, essentially. Destiny was essentially one of the first quadruple A games, right? With just insane budget. We shouldn't be calling them Bungie, we should call them budget. And yeah, company with basically infinite money. Instead of officially collabing with the artist, you know, paying them something, I don't know, it's Bungie, they can pay whatever they want. They could pay that artist $1 million. They could pay that artist like 100K for an artist would be more than enough, I think. Well, depending on what kind of artist it is, but you know, they could come up with a really fat contract for that artist, or even lowball that artist. You know, treat that artist as if it's a privilege for the artist to work for Bungie. Nope, no collaboration, no nothing. A trillion, billion, you know, infinite money company just steals assets from an artist and uses them in their game. I don't understand why. Was it really that big a hassle? Was it really that big a hassle to come on, to collaborate with the artist? Like, yeah, it would be pretty strange if they just outright bought those assets, but they could, you know, commission new ones, just like the old ones. Whatever. We're just going to steal them. And of course, Bungie has their own version of events, which is basically, you know, we just kind of randomly found those in the folder, and we used them, and nobody double checked that whoever put those assets into the folder actually, like, they were not supposed to be used. They were like reference, you know, assets. Like, yeah, guys, whatever. All right. I don't want to be making it about myself, but here's an example. If Bungie approached me, a company with infinite money, and lowballed me to the point of, I don't know, paying me, like at this point, if a company approached me and was kind of like, hey, we kind of like your music, can we license it for literally like, I don't know, $500 a pop? I would probably be forced to say yes, just because of the situation I'm in right now, right? Nope, they chose to steal it. What the actual hell? So yeah. No human contact. No... like, why would they do that? Because attempting to contact an artist was just too much a hassle. Well, now you have a hassle of, you know, everyone on the internet calling you thieves. Heine. Let's go. Oh, there he comes. There he comes. There he comes. Heine moon. Heine moon. There he comes. Yeah, wow. Just wow. I mean, I don't know much about that artist, but I assume they are probably not a trillionaire. They probably could have lowballed them. They could have afforded, they could afford, and they will probably now, you know, be paying something to that artist, you know, settling out of court a type of, well, basically a court case, a defamation, a plagiarism, not even plagiarism, just theft case, I assume. Like, why? Not only, why wouldn't you collaborate with the artist to begin with, but also, why wouldn't you collaborate with an artist as an infinite money company? You could have absolutely done that. And you could afford to pay anything. It's just so weird. But yeah, that's how business is done in 2020, in 2020s. You know, couldn't be bothered. So wow. So just wow. there are two video games actually that I played like months and months ago that I never mentioned to anyone. So I think it was actually a launch title, to the point where the game actually originally came out on CD, if I believe, for PlayStation 2, and that is Ridge Racer 5. I played Ridge Racer 5 for the first time in my life. Probably about 4 months ago. And until then, I'll be honest, I only played either one game. Yeah, I think I only played one game on PSP. And I did not particularly, I was not particularly crazy about it. And I couldn't quite wrap my head around, like, what is it that you're supposed to do in this game at all. From what I remembered was that it was super easy to keep your car in the drift, basically non-stop. Your car would just be in a perpetual drift if you wanted to. Barely losing any speed from being in a drift. And I really liked it aesthetically, but it didn't particularly click with me gameplay-wise. Now, Ridge Racer 5, maybe now that I'm a bit older, and I went out of my way, obviously, to try it, not just kind of like randomly picked it, because yeah, when I was playing Ridge Racer on PSP, that was like over 15 years ago, and I literally got a game from a friend. I had one dude in my class, possibly even the only other dude in my entire school that also had PSP, and we exchanged quite a few games. Yes, I think PSP might have already been hacked. I hacked my PSP way later in my life. During the original run, I did pirate quite a few games for PSP when I was a kid, but for the first quite a few years of PSP being alive, no, I had just a collection of normally bought video games. And yeah, Ridge Racer was just one of the games a friend actually gave it to me. Yeah, now that I went out of my way to check out Ridge Racer 5, because I realized that, like, what are all the other Ridge Racer games? And truth be told, that there's only the PlayStation 1 games, right? I think PlayStation 2 literally only had one, right? Which was Ridge Racer 5. And all the other... Oh, there's a bunny in the distance. Ooh. So we have the PS1 games, PSP games. I think there was one on Vita, the Vita. And PlayStation 2 basically only had one. Because Ridge Racer 6 then came out on X360, I suppose, which is good luck emulating that these days. Not yet, potentially never. Well, never say never, but X360 emulation is not doing very well right now and has never done particularly well. Oh yeah, Ridge Racer 5 did not click with me right away, but yeah, I learned how to play it, and what a frigging unique game. Like, I'm not sure if all Ridge Racers play like this. I mean, the only other one that I played many years ago was 4. Right, and OST, the soundtrack to Ridge Racer 4 is actually one of the OSTs I have already recommended on my Patreon. 5, the soundtrack to 5 did not blow my mind particularly, and the game itself is very strange. So just like any other Ridge Racer that I've played, that I remember, I don't remember much about Ridge Racer 4, honestly. I played it way too many years ago. But just like any other Ridge Racer I've ever played, 5 is frigging brutal. It's a very difficult game until you master it. And even after you master it, I completed it, I 100%ed it. I finished the career on easy, and I finished half the career on normal. And I just decided to, okay, I'm gonna stop for a while. Maybe I'll come back to it eventually, I don't know. But yeah, when you create an account, a save file for Ridge Racer, you pick up you pick your difficulty, and you stick with it. Like that's it. That's your campaign. Now on easy, normal, and hard, those are actually 3 different campaigns. You get slightly different tracks, and it's treated as a different save file. You cannot change the difficulty once you've chosen it. Now the game is pretty challenging, to the point where, like, I initially started it on normal, and after many attempts, I finished kind of like the intro league, the tutorial league, and I think I did either 1 or 2 more races of a proper league, and I just said to myself, okay, you know what, I like really need to learn this, I think, before I can like properly play it. So let's do another account on easy. And that's what I did. And the game was almost just as challenging, except for, yeah, I aced a few of the first races, a few of the starter races, but it then became pretty much just as challenging as normal eventually, or from almost the very beginning. The normal was to me. And yeah, it took quite a few attempts to do some of those races, but on easy, I found the challenge to be very healthy and something I could do. Now, even after I understood how to play Ridge Racer, because Ridge Racer plays like no other arcade racing game, it was still like not enough. First of all, you need to intimately know the tracks. Absolutely, you have to be intimately familiar with them, why I think there is like absolutely no point of starting that game on normal. I mean, easy, you're gonna scratch your head if you keep doing this. Did you hurt yourself? Dude, that's barbed wire there. Stop. Okay, you look okay, but stop. Stop. So for those of you who don't know, so this is how you play Ridge Racer. And I don't think I've ever played the arcade version. I think the only I've played Outrun. I played arcade Outrun, but like the one that was later ported to Dreamcast and PS2, like that generation of Outrun. But I never, played arcade Ridge Racer. So, and I played 4, but it was so long ago, I did not particularly remember how to play it. But yeah, the process is actually goes like this. Brakes you pretty much don't use at all. Brakes do absolutely nothing. I don't remember if there's handbrake. I don't think there is. Even if there was, there's actually no point. So the way you play Ridge Racer is every single corner that you can kind of do by just turning, you go full speed. And you basically take those corners the same way you take kind of like non-drift corners in Wipeout or F-Zero. You just go full speed. You never let go of the accelerator. I will explain why if you don't know. And you just try yourself to like follow the track. You try your best to just follow the track. So like Wipeout or F-Zero style. But for any corner that is somewhat harder than something that you can just go full speed, you let go, well, at any point, if you let go of the accelerator button, Momo, we don't stand in place, we will be eaten by insects. Okay, then we go back. Oh, stop. Stop. There's a fucking mosquito on you. Okay. Yeah, for any other corner, right, no, we go back. Come on. You told me we go back, then we go back. You let go of the acceleration, and your car immediately becomes driftable. You basically automatically, not automatically, that's how you do it. When you let go of the acceleration, you are now in the drift mode. So this is how you drift in Ridge Racer. You just let go of the acceleration and you drift, and that's it. And if you step on the accelerator again, you begin the process of getting out of the drift. Essentially, you begin the process of kind of like controlled drift, and that's how you get out of it. Braking is also one of the ways of getting out of the drift, which is somewhat, counterintuitive. The arcade physics of Ridge Racer are very, very counterintuitive. You basically have to rewire your brain in order to play the game. And I think that's pretty much the most challenging part of it, is that for the first 5 hours or so of playing Ridge Racer 5, I was mostly fighting my brain. I was more fighting my brain than I was fighting the car and memorizing the tracks, right? So you let go of the accelerator, your car automatically goes into the drift. And while you're in the drift mode, there is quite a bit of an assist for cornering. When you are in the drift mode, your car just kind of automatically follows most of the curves of most corners, with wiggle way for your personal control over it, of course. And just like in realistic-ish drift, a lot of the corners, your car basically takes itself just as long as you are in the drift mode. So the challenge becomes knowing when to start drifting to take most corners, and that's where the skill comes from, and that's where the knowledge also kicks in, because you need to know exactly how long those corners are, those turns are that you need to be drifting for, and you know where they are, and you need to absolutely know perfectly when to initiate drift. And it almost eventually, if you're playing perfectly, it eventually comes down to essentially almost like what do they call it with Tesla, where it's like one pedal mode, where the car starts to automatically brake when you don't accelerate, so you can control your car with basically just one pedal. It almost kind of feels like something like that in Ridge Racer, only instead of braking, it's drifting, where you basically only need one button, right? It's your acceleration, and when you don't accelerate, you just automatically drift. And it's pretty counterintuitive. But the game is absolutely brutal. The penalty of hitting anything is brutal. Your car comes to almost a complete stop from hitting anything, and you immediately get lapped 3 times by all of the opponents if you hit anything. If you hit an opponent, by the way, and it doesn't matter how you hit the opponent. It doesn't matter if you bump them in the back, doesn't matter if you bump them on the side. Again, your car just loses all of its momentum, all the acceleration. You just start accelerating as if all of the momentum, all the inertia is just gone. And you lose a ton of speed from just bumping into anything. And the opponents, and that can be counted as Mumu. We don't just stand in place, okay? We will be eaten alive. It could be said that maybe AI is kind of bad in that sense. AI never does any mistakes. There are no mistakes on the AI part. And those assholes are absolutely brutal. They don't give way at all. They themselves are barely affected by colliding with you. You are super affected by colliding with them. And very often they are completely in the way of your angle, you know, or like in your way. And most corners, most turns, you don't have that much to say on how, like there's only one trajectory, basically, you can take with most corners, right, in Ridge Racer. So, like if someone's in your way, you're just screwed. Right? You either need to brake and lose all of the speed and get lapped 5 times, or you collide into, you know, you try to alter your trajectory and collide with the border of the track, or you collide with the opponent and again come to near complete stop immediately. It's quite something that game is. It's not even the fact that the game is just like base level difficult. It's just how unforgivable it is. But you know what? It was absolutely a unique experience. I'm not sure I can recommend it to anyone because all things considered, it is such well, these days at least, it is such a niche thing. But I remember watching someone's review of Ridge Racer Unbounded or whatever the hell, the one that was made by the developers of Fallout, Bugbear, I think, right? Their name is, and they just said something like, you know, drifting is not that big a part of this game, unlike in Ridge Racer, where cars were just like drifting all over the place. Actually, no, cars in Ridge Racer 5 do not drift at all. They are completely magnetized to the track unless you... Oh my god, so many insects. Unless you let go of the accelerator. Come on, most of the music in Ridge Racer 5 is almost offensively toxic techno. And I did not particularly enjoy it. I mean, I love a lot of the classic Namco kind of like techno / D&B music. It's almost like a separate genre at this point, because that kind of music doesn't really exist all that much outside of Namco video games, believe it or not. Kind of like the kind of music you might be familiar with if you played any of the Tekken games. There's not actually that much music like that out there. Especially like old school, like this like D&B ambient / techno music that you might hear in, say, Ace Combat 3. Like there's not that much music like that out there. It's almost like this, like very special Namco video game, you know, music style of music. Okay, again, you don't want to go any further? Or do you? You want to go? No? Okay, let's go back. No standing in one place, Booba. No standing in one place. Yeah, but Ridge Racer 5 just had this extremely loud and noisy techno. It was just almost offensively noisy and not very melodic at all. Like, that's the cool thing about games like Ridge Racer 4, or soundtracks for Ridge Racer 4, well, in games as well, or Ace Combat 3, is that music is actually very melodic. Ridge Racer 5, not as much. But, yeah, I don't even know. The game is super unforgiving, to the point where it almost feels like an arcade game just ported you know, to home consoles. There's quite a bit of content in the game, definitely. And for a launch title, pretty impressive graphics and everything, honestly. It's just that, like, honestly, it requires effort on the player's part to even get it, to even understand how to play it. And that's probably the thing that I found so interesting. Once I realized how you're supposed to play the game, it clicked in a way. It definitely was almost like a puzzle clicking into place. Because, like, there are games like Burnout, which you can learn how to play Burnout in 10 minutes, right? And then it just becomes the process of mastering it. But in Ridge Racer, well, the game explains absolutely nothing to you. You need to figure out how to do it. And yeah, so there's one video game that I played that I absolutely did not hate, which was not a slop or anything. So John does not necessarily hate everything. It's just that John now plays video games that he kind of missed from his childhood, I suppose. And while I was looking up Ridge Racer 5, I stumbled on another game. I came across another game I never even knew existed. A lot of people, now I'm pretty sure a lot of people for real do not know that this game exists. In English, it was called something like R-Type Racing Evolution or something like that, which is classic Namco. In Japanese, I think there was a subtitle for it, because that's actually the main mode of the game. That's how I played it. It's called Racing Life or something like that, R-Type Racing Life or something like that. So essentially, it's Namco's take. It's not a standalone game, technically. Well, it is a standalone game, but it's not just a random one. It's a spin-off. It's a Ridge Racer spin-off. But it is nothing like Ridge Racer. It is actually Namco's take on Gran Turismo. Yep. It's a legitimate Gran Turismo by Namco, loosely under the Ridge Racer banner. And I played that as well. And wow. Quite an interesting experience that game was, but honestly, I have no idea what Namco was thinking with that game. I mean, I understand what the idea was, and I really agree with the idea, but how they actually went about making it, I don't know. The rally stages, the rally mode in Gran Turismo was never particularly good or popular, but it is present in the Evolution Racing Life, whatever. And it's absolutely horrible. It's borderline unplayable. The game can be pretty unforgiving also, but it's less so, of course, than your classical Ridge Racers, because borderline nothing is as unforgivable as Ridge Racer 5, for example. But, okay, so it's weird. It's weird, that game is. So first of all, the simulation aspect of it is just, the game does not feel like a simulation at all. The game technically has you control the amount of braking and control the amount of acceleration you apply, right, with the trigger, whatever gauge. It actually even has gauges even for how hard you're turning. So very Gran Turismo-like. But it feels not particularly simulatory. The traction is like super weird. You can never tell whether your car is about to slip or not. Just your car either does not turn at all, which kind of Gran Turismo-ish, right? And then, while not turning at all, it just randomly eventually slips. And with no signs that it was about to, with no indication, with no feedback. You can affect your car's... you can tune your car a little bit to your liking. Doesn't do all that much, to be honest. But the biggest thing about racing, life, evolution, whatever, was that, honestly, the game is just... there is no sense of speed in that game at all until you go to, like, the two highest, like, categories of cars. Everything below it, there's just no sense of speed at all. You literally go like 30 miles an hour. And the game tells you you're going like 120, and you legitimately go 30. I'm sure there were other games like it, maybe. Early Gran Turismo games, you might argue, had some of the same problem. Cyberpunk 2077 had that problem. You know, yeah, even the fastest cars, it's just that the speedometer would go like all the way to like 300 miles an hour, but it's very obvious that your car is going 40, right? If not, you know, 20. It's almost like, do you remember playing Driver 2 or Driver 1 for that matter? Remember how in those games, every single car, no matter which car you picked, and between Driver 2 and 1, there is only like a dozen cars, honestly, but nonetheless, every single car in Driver, either 1 or 2, doesn't matter. Like the top speed of it, again, is like 30, if not 25. And you have your, you know, engine is revving and like gears are shifting, but you're not accelerating. So just like Driver 2, just like Cyberpunk 2077, but I never had... Well, Driver 2 is not necessarily a racing game, right? But R-Type Racing Evolution Life is a racing game, and it has no sense of speed at all. You might say, well, it's an engine limitation, right? Just we couldn't make objects of such fidelity. You know, we couldn't make the environment to draw fast enough for fast cars. No, but, you know... faster categories of cars, like the fastest category of cars, or whatever, like S class or whatever, they actually do go relatively fast. It does feel like a racing game. Again, maybe not as fast as those cars actually need to feel and go, but it does feel like a racing game. Absolutely. When you are like driving around like tuned up, you know, Nissan Skylines, like GTR type cars that are absolutely out of their mind, you know, tuned. Yeah, it does feel like a racing game, but anything below it, I think your starting car is like literally Ford GT, I think. And that, like the top speed of that thing. And also, some of the first races, I think the first 2 races, you are doing an O, like a NASCAR type of speedway thing. That's your like tutorial mission, so to speak. And that's how the game starts. And you start in Ford GT, and your top speed is like 30 miles an hour. Like, what the hell? Like, what am I doing wrong? Is this like... Is this version of the game bugged or something? Like, am I supposed to be playing the PS2 version? Or like what? What is happening? I played the GameCube version. But no, I actually looked it up, and it seems that that's just how, you know, things function in this game. It's like super weird to be playing a racing game that is slow as a simulator. And maybe that's the idea, right? Like, the idea is not that you're going to be going fast and whatnot. The idea is that you need to be like calculating your you know, cornering really nicely. You need to be calculating your, like how much you will be braking. Wait, 1 second. Like that the game is not about speed, the game is about like technicality, right? Of cornering. Yeah, okay. But in order to understand how to corner, you need to understand how fast you're going, right? You need to understand when you start braking. You need to understand how much you can accelerate during cornering, or like when you get out of the corner. And the problem is that you don't go any faster in the corner when you exit it if you accelerate, but your car spins. And it's like you're approaching a tight corner at 30 miles an hour. You don't feel like you need to be braking. Like, what the hell? Like you need a certain sense of speed, right? Because in a simulator type of environment, or even like arcade environment. Moon, is it again too hot for you to play? Blackfly. Bum bum. You don't rely on your speedometer, right? You rely on your sense of speed. You rely on your eyes and your senses. And in racing evolution life, no, you need to basically be relying on your tools, because otherwise you just cannot tell. Okay, I'm approaching a corner. Like, am I supposed to brake? I'm already going like super slow. I cannot tell if I'm supposed to brake or not. When you drive faster cars, you actually can tell it. Okay, I can feel that I'm going a bit fast. I'm gonna brake now, right? But with slower cars, it's just kind of like I'm going 20 miles. Like, the game shows me that I'm going 100. Am I supposed to brake? Okay, cool. So if I brake from what the game tells me 100 to 20, I don't even feel any difference in speed. Like, how am I supposed to play a game like this? It is so weird. It's not that even just it's lame, right? How slow cars are, because it's kind of like, it's not linear or like exponential, whatever. I don't even know how to explain it. Like lack of speed. It's just that the car, relatively fast, gets to about 20 miles an hour, and from that point, you know, engine keeps revving, but the car no longer accelerates, like in practice. So it's not like it's very, very slow to get to 20 miles. So I can kind of judge for myself. No, it's actually like the first couple of seconds of acceleration actually feel relatively realistic. It's just that you immediately hit a certain cap, and from that point on, you no longer can rely on your senses. It's just that the game from that point on tells you how fast you're going, but actually you yourself wouldn't be able to tell ever. Yeah. I just got bored. Eventually. But I did play in free mode. Yeah, faster cars actually do feel better. But yeah, whatever. For a game like this, going fast is not the point, I get it, but it is necessary in order for it to be playable. What, Moon? Is it too hot for you to play? Well, it's not going to get any colder. It's actually not even all that hot, Moon. I don't know. I don't know what else to give you. You might be camera shy. I promise you everything is okay. Like the second I stop this thing, he's going to want to play. Or maybe he does not seem to have any respiratory problems. Maybe it's just he's sensing more shit in the air than my human senses can afford, so he just doesn't want to do anything here. He just wants to go back. But guess what? All he wanted to do when he was inside for the last couple of hours. But see? He wanted to go outside, and now we are outside. And now he's gonna like, well, it's not as chill as I was hoping. It wasn't hot inside, by the way. It was perfectly fine. But yeah, 45 minutes. Well, again, so R-Type, racing, evolution, whatever. It's just, like, if you're ever interested, you can pretty much just search the internet for something like the Ridge Racer Gran Turismo game. You know, and you will find it. Such a weird one. Interesting, definitely. Looks amazing. Sounds pretty alright too. But with no sense of speed, you basically cannot play it as an emulator. It's just like this very weird representation of what things maybe. It's kind of like, it's more of a metaphor for a simulated racing than an actual simulated racing game, you know? No. Okay then. I'm gonna stop talking then, see if Pops maybe wants to play after all or not, and if not, then that'll be it. Okay then. I'm gonna go.